television station in the heart of Sarajevo came under mortar attack fired from Serb positions in the hills in the early hours of this morning. For days now it's been targeted by Serb politicians who accuse journalists working here of bias and manipulation in their coverage of the conflict. This attack served as the signal for the battle to spread. Other key buildings like the Central Electricity Headquarters were also the focus of attack. The positions defended by members of the newly formed Territorial Guard of Bosnia-Herzegovina, an anti-Serb alliance made up mostly of Muslims and Croats. The vicious street fighting spread to the rooftops, where snipers crouch, seeking out targets in the streets below. The Territorial Defence Guard has been preparing for a major attack, but though today's fighting's the heaviest here to date, it's far from clear whether it represents the start of the full-scale assault which many fear. And despite their spirited defence, it's difficult to make out just who the snipers are aiming at, as they themselves admit the Serbs are out of range.
They're shooting at us from secure positions. They started with heavy artillery and machine gun fire to create panic. Then they launched grenades. They were firing indiscriminately. They shot at the Central Electricity Headquarters, restaurants and residential areas.
Only 200 meters away from the fighting, United Nations troops were anxiously observing developments. Their job in the region is restricted to Croatia and Serbia. And though this is the headquarters of the operation, they have no mandate to intervene and are only too well aware that events in Sarajevo could threaten their base and jeopardize their entire operation.
Our security people are on alert. You can see them. They've got their weapons at the ready in case they need to defend this facility, but we have, at this moment, no reason to think that there will be any hostilities directed at us. We just happen to be in the middle of it, it seems.
The Serb political leader in Bosnia-Herzegovina is Radovan Karadzic. It's unclear what his relationship is with the Serb irregular forces. His office issued an order forbidding them to fire on Sarajevo, which they ignored, so the possibility is that this is a political game. But he denies his intentions are aggressive.
We don't want to gain territory which does not belong to us. We just want to defend our territory, which are historically and ethnically Serbian territories, in order to prevent occupation by Croats or Muslims. And if they occupy it, they would not negotiate anymore. They will take it for themselves.
In the ancient and picturesque city of Mostar, to the south of Sarajevo, the colours of the new Republic of Bosnia-Herzegovina hang defiantly from the mosque. There's been fighting here for more than 2 weeks, since the European community granted recognition. Like many of the towns involved in this conflict, the population here is more or less evenly split between Muslims, Croats and Serbs. But it's the Croatian district which has suffered most of the attacks. Are people here frightened or worried? How would you say?
Yeah, frightened and worried the most of the time, even in the night, because all of their attacks they planned in the night because they thought we didn't accept that. They want to surprise us.
But as we were filming here, the local militia told us they'd been warned that another very serious attack was imminent. Unlike in Sarajevo, where the role of the Serb-controlled federal army is difficult to ascertain, this attack on Mostar was clearly carried out by them. Looking up at army positions on the ridge of the hill above the city, it was possible to make out mortars being fired. Earlier in the day, the army had issued the town with an ultimatum, demanding the release of 2 of its pilots it claimed had been kidnapped. And despite appeals to call off the attack from EC monitors to an army colonel, it continued for 4 hours. The local Croat and Muslim leadership claim that Mostar's been specifically chosen as a target by the Serb-controlled federal army because of its strategic value. They say whoever controls Mostar controls the main road and rail links between Sarajevo and the sea. People here say the pattern is to terrorize the population, where residential areas have taken direct hits.